Hello again. Welcome back to Almost 30 Podcast. It's your girl, Krista Williams, and I'm so glad you're here. It's just the best. I love hanging out with you. I love being able to be a part of your lives and journey. It's been 7 years since we've been together, since we've been friends, since we've known each other. I love our community. We got a strong one, Almost 30 Nation, our membership. Every time we meet you guys at events, and it's just such a blessing to be in your world. So I know there's a lot to listen to out there, so I feel incredibly grateful that you chose Almost 30 for your listening. If you're an OG, you know what it is. But if you're new, you don't need to be 30 to listen. It's when we started, and it's become a whole thing. But it was a journey and process in our 20s to figure out life, our purpose, who we are, what we came here to do, who we came here to be, and all of that. On the podcast, we do incredible interviews with really powerful teachers, healers, leaders, and facilitators. We also do conversations with myself and my co-host, my best friend, Lindsay, where we catch up. We talk about things that are happening in our lives. We like to have a lot of fun. We'll do Q&As. And then we also do solo episodes. So in these solo episodes, we like to go in on topics that are really resonant, things that will hopefully provide value to you in your life, things that are helping us, things that we're learning, things that we're growing through. And today's solo episode is no exception for that, because we're going to be talking about the voice and communication. We're going to be talking about the authentic voice and communication, which can seem like a very nebulous out there topic, but it is something that is just crystallizing in my life in a way that I would have never imagined. You would have never imagined. And I'm really seeing the power of communication, the power of your voice, the power of speaking your truth, the power of being able to be in your body enough to say how you feel, the power of giving yourself the space and grace to identify how you feel before saying it, the power of a calm nervous system to allow your voice tone to be calm, to allow the words to come out of your mouth with love and kindness or power or anger or rage. The voice is so incredibly important. And I think it's something that we overlooked. And we overlook still today. So for me and my journey with the voice, just a little background, we'll get a little vulnerable together. Hope that's okay. I was someone that never really knew I had a voice, you just kind of talk and you just communicate and you say the thing and you do the thing and you exist with this vibration that comes out of your physical body. But I'll never forget, I was in the back of a minivan in the Kroger parking lot in Ohio. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but you have those soul lightning bolt moments where your soul is ding, and then dominoes happen and time collapses and you're like, whoa, that is something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, or something that I need to never forget. Usually it's traumatic, but in this case it wasn't. But I was sitting in the back of a van in a Kroger parking lot in Ohio, and I was probably 10 or 12. And there was my friend's mom who had been taking us to Kroger to do something. Ohio things. Don't ask questions. We were getting snacks for a movie. Who knows? And I was sitting in the captain's seat like a baller of the van. And she turns around, and I was just talking to the girls in the car. And she goes, "Krista, you have a really beautiful voice." And I was like, what? What are you talking about? My voice? Me? Not only did I not understand a compliment that was anything outside of how I looked, if I was good or not, if I was being quiet, if I had gotten an A, I had no idea that there were compliments that existed outside of achievement-based ones. So this was blowing my mind, first of all. I was like, what? She's acknowledging something that's uniquely me and saying it out of kindness with no expectation for the outcome? If you're getting a little bit of a vibe of my childhood in the house that I grew up in, you're picking up what I'm throwing down. I grew up in a house where I had lost my voice. I didn't really have a voice. I wasn't valued for the voice that I had. I wasn't valued for my unique perspective. I wasn't valued for speaking. I was really valued for listening, being quiet, giving other people the time and energy to take up a lot of space, allowing people to, be in their bigness, and me being as small as possible was the goal. I never felt heard. I never felt really understood. And I never felt really seen. I never felt like my voice had weight or mattered. And that was something that, stuck with me for the rest of my life through, the various neglect or, kind of situation that I was in my household. And a lot of you maybe had the same experience of feeling like your voice didn't matter, feeling like your parents didn't really understand you, feeling like your emotions weren't valued or wanted, feeling like, there's nothing that you could have said that would have been okay or right, and you being you just wasn't okay. I think a lot of us had this type of experience from a young age. And what can happen to our voice is we can have the muscle memory that is created. So much like our muscles have muscle memory, where you want to pick up a glass, you go to pick up the glass, and it is muscle memory, like something that we're doing over time repeatedly, that is allowing you to pick up the glass without conscious thought. Just like our body has muscle memory, our actions and the way of being that we are in our life has muscle memory too. So for me, growing up in a situation where I never felt like my voice was heard, I never felt like my opinion mattered, I never felt like I had something interesting to say, or that I could even finish a sentence without being interrupted or questioned or judged or criticized, I developed the muscle memory of not speaking up, not being myself, of not being honest, of not feeling like my voice was worthwhile. And it is something that I work with over time. So for any of you that feel like you have lost your voice, you don't have a voice, you don't feel comfortable in your voice, you don't feel like you could speak your truth, you don't feel like communication is something that comes really easy to you, then it is definitely because of muscle memory over time that's made it uncomfortable for you to step up in your truth and in your power.
I was just home visiting my parents, and I got my mom on the Armra train, baby. She loves it. She puts it in her coffee every single morning, her iced coffee, which she loves so much. And this has really been helping her, not only with her hair, skin, and nails, but her immunity has improved so much. It's the winter season, and she has been well all winter long. So you guys know I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity and improve my fitness, metabolism, even elevate my skin, hair, nail health. And Armra does it all. I've been taking this for, I think it's been 1.5 years now. I actually met the founder a while back and asked her all the questions about this. This was like new on the scene. And I was like, wait, colostrum? What? What is this? And what's happening? What does it do? So colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life and contains all the essential nutrients we need in order to thrive. This is proprietary concentrate of bovine colostrum. It is the overflow of bovine colostrum, which is really important to note. I've gotten some questions from people asking about that. It is the overflow, and it harnesses over 400 functional nutrients to strengthen your immune barriers and fuel cellular health for a host of research-backed benefits. This has been like on the DL with athletes for years. So it's great for fitness, performance, and recovery, but it's also amazing for hair growth, glowing skin. This is awesome to fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism. I love it. Every single day I put this in a cool beverage, and it's delishy. You can barely taste it, but also like sometimes I'll just take it as like a scoop itself and it tastes like a milk dud. It's yummy. So we've worked out a really special offer for you, our listener. Receive 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra.com/almost30 or enter almost 30 to get 15% off your first order, baby. Tryarmra.com/almost 30. That's TRYARMRA.com/almost 30, or use the code almost 30 to get 15% off your first order. Okay, this app has been with me through seasons of wanting to prevent pregnancy and also get pregnant. The app is Natural Cycles. It is a leading women's health company that they created the world's first FDA-cleared birth control app. So the app's algorithm uses hormone-driven changes in body temperature to let users know when they're fertile and not fertile. It is so easy, y'all. Every single morning I wake up, I have the thermometer on my bedside table, and then I take my temperature. I input the temperature into the app, and boom, there you go. It is 93% effective with typical use and 98% effective with perfect use. It's pretty incredible. I know a lot of people are just thinking about their birth control. A lot of people are going off hormonal birth control. This is an incredible option for you. I've been using it for a couple years now. And again, it is so easy. So the algorithm uses the body temperature to determine where a user is at in their cycle. The more they measure, the more data it will have. And if you have an Oura Ring, by the way, it syncs with your Oura Ring and it'll take your temperature automatically. Pretty cool. You can trust natural cycles. For the past 10 years, they have been setting the precedent for non-hormonal and non-invasive birth control without sacrificing effectiveness. They were the first to introduce a birth control app, the first to receive FDA clearance as a birth control app, and the first birth control app to integrate with that wearable device, the Oura Ring. They're the best. I'm excited for you all. Listen, as our listener, you are going to get a discount plus a free thermometer, baby. Use code almost30 at naturalcycles.com to get 15% off an annual subscription plus a free thermometer. That's naturalcycles.com. You're going to use the code almost30 to get 15% off an annual membership and a free thermometer.
So I had this experience, this woman says this thing, time collapses, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. You know, I just feel this feeling of like my soul kind of just taking a little ticker box. And I've had various experiences like this in my life where my soul is just like, we're just going to double click on that. We're going to remember this. This is something that is helpful for the path and journey. Fast forward, I'm older, I'm living in New York City, I'm working at a corporate job that I didn't really like, and I found SoulCycle. So if you know the pod, you might know a little bit about this story, but if you don't, this is, a story about the voice as it relates to starting the podcast, something that we've been doing for 7 years, using our voices. And I found SoulCycle, and I was like, I want to be a SoulCycle instructor, like listening to music, moving my body, wearing a crop top, being confident enough to wear a crop top. Sick. And SoulCycles were getting paid bank at that time. Like it was like a celebrity thing. Like it was like so cool and fun. And I just found that it brought so much life. There was so much vitality in it. I loved that the instructors were leaders. I loved that they were like alchemists of the energy of the room. And so I was like, I want to be a SoulCycle instructor. So I do all this stuff to practice and get ready for the auditions. Yes, you have to audition. You have to apply, do an interview, and then do an audition with SoulCycle. SoulCycle is like indoor cycling, if anyone doesn't know. And so for the audition, you audition in front of a group of people. There's like 60 people on bikes that are also auditioning, and you choose a few songs to perform essentially on stage as if you were a SoulCycle instructor, as if you were an instructor. And they critique or judge you or, figure out if you're a fit for the brand. So I got my songs, I have my like full face of makeup on and my like cheetah leggings. I don't even know. And I am like, okay, let's freaking go. Here we go. I'm so pumped. I've got my whole script ready. I'm like looking ridiculous. I get up on stage and I put on the microphone, and the microphone is one of those ones that's kind of like the Britney microphone where you put it and it goes to your mouth. And I'm like, hello. And I am horrified. It's almost like I projected the voice into the microphone, and if I could have had my head blow back into the wall because I felt so uncomfortable that something was projecting out into the world with that intensity, I could have, I just was like, oh my gosh, how do I get out of this as fast as possible? I was so uncomfortable having my voice projected on a microphone in front of a room. I was so nervous. I felt so overwhelmed. I felt so like disgusted with it for some reason. I felt so not confident. And I just kind of stepped into this like weird persona. Like I was like, hey, yeah, like you guys, we were down for the count. Your girl was not good. She was down bad. I was down bad. So I finished the audition and I'm like, oh my God, so embarrassing. I'm horrible on a microphone. I cannot hear my voice projected. This is making me puke. But I still wanted the job. So what I did for the next year was I got vocal lessons in New York City. So on Wednesdays at my corporate job, I would take an extra long lunch break and I would take the subway uptown, have my vocal lessons, and then come back to work. And at these vocal lessons, I learned so much about the voice. I learned so much about being in my body and being in the voice. And for that whole year, I thought I was getting voice lessons for being a SoulCycle instructor. And as you could now tell, I'm not a SoulCycle instructor. I am a podcast host and speaker, and I use my voice on the podcast. So essentially, all of this training was for the podcast, was for using my voice in this way and understanding my voice in a deeper way. But even when we started the podcast, I didn't really understand what was happening as far as it related to my journey with the voice, as far as it related to me using my voice in the world as something that is uniquely me, as something that is my unique soul resonance, as something that is my divine soul blueprint, as something like I didn't see it as my consciousness manifested. I just saw it as the thing that was going to happen with almost 30. You know, I just loved being with Lindsay so much on the microphone, you know, my co-host, that we were having so much fun. I didn't even really think about it. And if you listen to the podcast, if you're an OG listener and you listened from the beginning, you can hear the complete difference in our voices. Absolute difference in our voices. At the beginning, I'm like up here. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what's up, guys? Welcome to Almost 30. It's Krista Williams. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, yeah. Da, 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 da. Fully in my head, in my throat, in my nervousness, in my anxiousness. You can almost still hear it. And not fully in my body, not fully in the comfort of my physical vehicle of who I am. And it wasn't bad or good. It was just part of the process. It was really just like the motion for me of the voice and my journey of the voice on Almost 30 has been the continued allowing of myself to take up space. Because essentially when we started the show, and Lindsay's voice was completely different too. My girl's voice was just fucking raspy rasp because she was overusing her voice, overtraining. She like had vocal nodes, like it was just crazy. And even for both of us, the journey of us being in both of our true tones and voices has been the journey of allowing ourselves to be who we are, to say how we feel, to be in authentic relationships, to feel comfortable and confident in our bodies. As each of these things have happened, my voice has become more uniquely me, and my voice has become more potent and pure in the messages and vibrations that I'm really bringing through. I think what I saw was that as someone that grew up in a household like I did, and someone that's deeply sensitive, and someone that is, you know, has been codependent for so long, I really became silent. I was really self-critical. I was confused at times of what I felt, what they felt. I couldn't really tell the difference between the two. I couldn't really figure out who I was and who they were. I was insecure, and I was really someone that catered completely to everyone else's feelings. You know, my voice and how I felt and who I was directly related to how everyone else was feeling. And I also felt like I had to say the perfect things. So because of the way they grew up, the only time that I could speak was to ask people questions, to cultivate conversation that was interesting to them and about them, or to say the perfect thing. I also had situations in relationships where I would use my voice and, you know, and I'd be gaslit so much that I didn't know what was up and what was down and how I felt and what was going on. And I also felt like so much of how I truly felt, my authenticity, my desires in life when I spoke them, you know, if I spoke my bigness of like, oh, this is what I want to create, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to serve, that it was too much, too materialistic, you know, too big, never going to happen, all these things, other ways to shut me down and to really keep me from using the voice. I also had things that I would share with people in confidence and intimate relationship use against me. And that was another thing where I'm like, oh yeah, I can't use my voice at all in my intimate relationships because it's always going to be used against me. It's always going to be used as a weapon. And as much as I had been hurt and told to not use my voice and had experiences that made me not feel like I could use my voice and make me lose my voice over time or be in an authentic voice or say things that I didn't mean or say things that I didn't even really feel, it was all part of the process of the alchemy of helping me remember to reclaim my voice and to be in my voice. And I really didn't realize until the past year that so much of my journey has been about reclaiming my voice. And in that journey of reclaiming that voice, it's reclaiming myself, it's reclaiming my soul, it's reclaiming my creativity, it's reclaiming this unique frequency that vibrates in my unique body at a unique resonance that reaches the right people, that reaches you, that reaches my unique soul tribe. It is no accident that this vibrational frequency that I'm bringing through is reaching you today. It's very kismet, it's very beautiful. And I think by seeing all the times when I wanted to step out more boldly in my voice, I wanted to be in my authenticity, I wanted to speak how I felt, I wanted to create, I wanted to say the thing, I wanted to be honest, it felt like every time I was like swatted back. It felt like every time I would get in trouble. There was also times on the podcast with Almost 30 over the years, you know, we've been doing our thing for 7 years now, and it's a really beautiful thing to be on a microphone, and it's a really in front of millions of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, however much. And also it's scary, for someone that cares about what other people think about her, if I'm honest, it's hard to have feedback about what you say all the time. It's another way to kind of swat you back into your box, into what people want you to say, what people want you to do. And there have been times too where I've lost my voice because of that, where I'm like, oh my God, I should say this thing. I should do this thing. I'm going to look bad if I don't say this. I'm going to look good if I say this. I'm going to look, they want me to do this thing. Oh yeah, I have to. All of that also contributed to this like loss of voice. I had a lot of stories that I told myself, and a lot of the stories that I told myself around the voice were, if I speak my truth, people will abandon me. If I say how I feel, people are going to leave. This can often be a pattern that comes up in intimate relationships with people that we love, with our friends. If I tell them that they did something that bothered me, they're probably going to leave me, so I'm not going to say anything. If I actually express a need or a desire or a want, they're going to think I'm too much, so I'm not going to say anything. I also had the story that if I speak my truth, no one will listen. If I speak my truth, no one's going to listen. Who cares? What's the point? I mean, if you heard how many times I did, what's the point? What's the point of even speaking? They're going to say this thing, then they're going to do this, and they don't even really care. I also had the story that I don't have anything interesting to say. Nothing I say is interesting. Nothing I say is of value or weight. Obviously, I've gotten over this one, but there's that thought. If I'm not fully in service to someone else in a conversation, that doesn't matter. If I'm not talking to them about them, then it doesn't even really matter. I also had the story that I will be persecuted for what I have to say. This is the old witch wound, baby. The feeling of like, oh, if I was to actually express how I truly feel about a situation, place, or thing, that's maybe a little cutting edge, that's maybe a little bit outside the mainstream, that I'm going to be persecuted, that this will be the end for me, that I'll lose my job, I'll lose my family, I'll lose my, community, I'll lose everything. A lot of us have that feeling that's like ancestral, cellular about speaking our truth. I also had this story that I told myself that if I speak my truth or if I use my voice, that I won't be liked, that it's much easier to be quiet. It's much easier to just get along with people. It's much easier to just be peaceful and just kind of nod and say yes, or like agree or be agreeable, or, just kind of be quiet. I think for a lot of women over time, they're afraid of lions, tigers, and bears, and women that want to say something, women that know what they want to say. We have this deep fear of not being liked. We have such a fear of being ostracized from community. And for a lot of us, that community connection is life. For speaking our truth. So for so many of us, we choose that attachment over authenticity. We choose the desire to stay in the group, our friends, our family, our partnership, over actually saying and being ourselves. That's a lot of the Gabor Mate work of authenticity over attachment, which is really powerful. The Myth of Normal is a really great book if you want more on that. So what I've realized over time is that as hard as my journey has been with the voice, and as much I've realized that I denied myself from speaking my truth or being honest or being who I am or saying how I feel or expressing love or expressing anger, is that it holds so much power. It holds so much power. We use it every day. The voice can move us to tears. The voice can shatter us. Have you ever been dumped? Have you ever lost a job? Has someone ever told you that you lost a family member? And on the other side, it can also heal a broken heart. Hearing words from someone that you love, or hearing a song that you love, being in relationship with someone that you love. Our voices can also seduce people. I mean, come on, baby. That's not my seduction voice, but they can seduce people. The sound of voice can do anything. It can invoke memories. It can invoke sensations, thoughts, feelings. It's this incredible tool and access point from our vibrational frequency of our body to someone else's that really can just set off an entire series of emotions, thoughts, and feelings. It has the power to create. If you've ever been into a meeting, you are creating with the power of the voice. If you are creating anything online, you are using your voice. If you are creating a new relationship, you are creating it through a series of actions that are happening through the voice. If you are creating a life that you love, you're speaking it into existence. You're taking a series of multiple actions that are supporting your new existence through the voice. It can also destroy. The voice can destroy. We all know, and we've been in situations where we've seen the voice destroy ourselves, destroy others. It can make or break bonds in friendship. If someone says something that can break you, it can end a relationship. It can strengthen a relationship and can create a relationship. It can make us laugh. It can make us cry. It is so much more than just something that is nothing. It's so much more. And many of us are afraid of our voice, and many of us take our voices for granted.
Okay, I know you can picture this. It's 4 p.m. You're ready for a little snack before you go to the gym after work, but you're like, okay, I'm going to have dinner in a few hours. Like, what should I eat? I don't want to feel like gross before the gym. I got you. You're going to have a Chomps beef stick because they are so freaking delicious. They're my favorite. I have a whole slew of them in my pantry because that is my go-to healthy snack. Every single bite is so freaking delicious. They have a variety of flavors. You're going to find the one you love. They have 0 sugar, up to 12 grams of protein, and very, very clean ingredients. So they're simply made with natural ingredients you can feel super good about. They're filled with the highest quality, sustainably sourced, 100% grass-fed meat. And I'm just really pumped because I was looking for a snack that I could feel good about that is a protein centered snack, not just like sugar and carbs and all the things. And now I have it. So I'm telling everyone I know about it. I'm even bringing extra with me on the go to give to people. They have thousands of 5-star reviews. So if you don't take my word for it, it's okay. Lots of people have said so themselves. Right now, Chomps is offering our listeners 20% off your first order, free shipping when you go to chomps.com/almost30. That's right. You're going to get free shipping and 20% off your order when you go to chomps.com/almost30. Don't forget to use that link so they know that we sent you. Chomps.com/almost30, 20% off plus free shipping. Okay, y'all, we are approaching spring and I am really excited because I found some essential pieces for my spring uniform and they're from Jenny Kane. Okay, this is a California brand through and through. Think like minimalist and effortless. It is so chic. And these are pieces you're going to have forever and ever. They have luxurious cashmere and just a ton of different pieces like accessories and jackets and pants you are going to absolutely love. Let me share some of my faves that I am going to be wearing this spring. So during the spring season, I love wearing like a cardigan, whether it's with a jean or a legging or even like a cute little skirt, depending on how cold it is out. This ensures that I'm warm and also fashionable. So I got the cocoon cardigan. It is just the yummiest thing of all time. I got it in the olive color. It's beautiful. I'm going to pair it with some jeans and maybe like a mule or a little sandal. Perfect for spring. Also, the cotton basic tee. This is my favorite tee. Done. I've been looking for a tee that is just effortless. It's the perfect fit. It's like loose but fitting, if that makes sense. It's 100% cotton. I am obsessed. They have jackets, they have sweaters, tops, dresses, bottoms, shoes, jewelry, and they just know how to do it right over at Jenny Kane. And I'm excited for you. Jenny Kane believes in the art of simplicity. They focus on comfort, quality, and timeless design. Your wardrobe will never go out of style, I promise you. They also have a stunning home essentials. Like their home collection is unbelievable. So check that out too. You can find your new uniform at jennykane.com and our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use the code almost30 at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code almost30. Let's get dressed together. One last thing to worry about, you know?
Your voice is your identity in sound. So, little story, I'll be vulnerable for a second. Your girl's dating. I was in a relationship for a long time, dating now. And in dating, it's been so much fun. And it's been so interesting because I require to hear someone's voice before we go on a date or before we do anything. Because I'm like, that soul essence, that frequency needs to be one that I jive with. It needs to be one that I feel inspired by, that I'm curious about, that I feel safe in. We know what it feels like to hear like a super smooth, sexy voice. It can feel good. You're like, oh yeah, that tone feels nice. That tone feels good. It can slow us down. It can bring us peace. It can stress us out. It can make us feel angry. It can remind us of things. So when I'm listening to the sound of someone's voice, I'm listening to their essence, like the manifestation of the essence of their truth. I'm listening to the core of their power. I'm listening to this unique soul frequency that I'm like, do I drive with this? Do I not? You also do this all the time when you listen to podcasts and you listen to audio. You're like, how does this voice sound for me? How does it make me feel? How does it make me feel in my body? Do I feel stressed? Do I feel relaxed? Do I feel at ease? Understanding the voice as the identity and sound, our truest self, and then really seeing how we can make the most use of our voice every single day. We can also see how we use our voice like masks to fit in. Some examples of this are the answering the phone voice. Hi, this is Krista. That was a different tone than the tone we just heard. Hey guys, this is Krista. Hey guys, it's Krista. Leave a message. We women do that all the time. We are in our normal voice, we're chilling, and then we go up to the top to sound nice and palatable and pleasant. Think about the times when you answer the phone with someone. Hi, how's it going? Good. Yeah, I was just wanting to make a dinner reservation or if we're talking to our crush, we're like, hey, how's it going? Like, the voice is a mask for our truth oftentimes. You know, the voice is like telling us and showing us so freaking much all the time. I know when me and my sister talk, me and my sister were 4 years apart, super close. We get on the phone and we're like, what's up? We literally are like, I don't even know what's going on. We're like, what's up? Yeah, that's cool. Like, we're like 12 again. It's so bizarre, but it's this just like thing that we have going that's just like this comfort and ease and like reminder of our childhood and like softness and play that we have together that's creating this resonance and this experience through the voice. The voice is matching this like energy that we have, this dynamic that we have. And then the voice is also masking for people a lot of what they're feeling. A lot of times if you're in a situation, say you have a hard conversation, someone's trying to communicate with you, they're like, hey, it really bothered me that you didn't show up for my birthday. That really hurt my feelings. It's like, whoa, okay, that's that. I don't know, I just couldn't come. The voice of someone who's defensive is completely different. You can feel the energy of the defensiveness, of the denial, of the not wanting to be a part of. So watching the way that our voice patterns change around people, how they feel around people, and noticing that in others. If you want to be someone that's reading energy, you can read the voice tone, and that can be enough. The voice tone is something you hear can be enough. You can hear the change in pitch, frequency, spacing, time, breath, all of it. I like to think of the voice as the nexus point of our mind, our body, and our soul. So if we were to close our eyes and think about it, if you're driving, this is not for you. So it is the nexus point for mind, body, and soul. So we either have the voice of our soul or we have the voice of our mind. Sometimes they work in tandem, but sometimes they can be separate. Our souls speak. Oftentimes this is like channeling. This can be in conversations where you're just so present, you're deeply loving, you're not thinking about what you're saying, it's coming from the heart, you're super open. It's like those loving conversations you have with people where you're like, this feels so good. I feel like it's all flowing. I feel like I can be myself. I feel like the energy of intention, of consciousness is moving through me in a really beautiful way in my body. Nothing's getting stuck. This is consciousness moving through our body. This is our soul moving through our body. We can also have the experience of the mind, the mind moving through our body, our physical body, to create sound through our voice. The mind thoughts can be, we can say things like, I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be successful. And you can even hear in the tone of my voice when I just said that. I'm not good enough. It's even brighter in my mouth. I'm not going to be successful. And it sounds less true because it's not moving through my body. But in the experience of creating this vibration, it is working in harmony and tandem with the mind, body, and the soul. So when the soul enters your body and when it creates a vibration in your body, it's oftentimes also structured with the mind. So the soul doesn't have a language, really. The language of the soul is nature. The language of the soul is Zach Bush. The language of the soul is cat fur. Who knows? The language of the soul is love. But this has to enter our body and then be created as a vibration that is then organized by the mind to be said in the world. It is frequency, it is the words, it is the uniqueness of your formula. Your unique formula is happening every single time you speak with the voice. It is the manifestation of consciousness. So what right now are you prioritizing over your voice? What are you prioritizing over being heard? Your perfectionism, your desire to say the perfect thing, it can hit on your fear of being seen. If you're not using your voice, you're not going to be seen. It can hit on your deepest fears in intimacy. This is so huge. Intimacy is created through communication. Communication is communion. My ability to hold and be in intimate relationships with men and women and everyone in my life has been directly correlated to my ability to hold and have hard conversations. Intimacy and trust is built through conflict and rupture and hard conversations and honesty and truth and coming back together each time through communication. So if you are not in your voice and in your truth and in your communication, you are not able to have those deeply intimate relationships of like, hey, I want to talk to you about this thing that happened to me. I'd love to have you be a witness and hold space for something that's hard. Hey, I want to talk to you about our future. I want to see how you feel about what I'm really thinking about our future. Hey, something that happened this past weekend just really hurt my feelings and I'd love to talk to you about it. All of that intimacy is created through communication. The voice also hits on your abundance, the ability to ask for what you freaking want, baby. So in the office, women are far less likely to negotiate. They're far less likely to ask for the promotion. They're far less likely to ask for the raise. They're far less likely to speak up. And there's actually research around this that women are often punished for engaging in more direct behaviors. They're seen as bitches. So oftentimes, we're not getting paid what we want because we're afraid to speak up about it. We're afraid to ask for what we want. We're afraid to be clear. We're afraid to be direct. We're afraid to just say how much we want to be paid. We're afraid to say why we deserve to be paid what we deserve. We're afraid that they're going to say something, they're going to judge us, they're going to, whatever. We are not getting paid what we want. We are not living abundantly, in part because we are not using communication and the voice to do so. The voice also hits on your ability to get what you want out of life. If you don't know what you want in life and you just find yourself circling and spiraling on your life, talking about how bad it is, you're getting everything that you say you want because you're continuing to feed the energetic vibration of what you don't want. So the universe is reading everything that you're saying and giving it back to you because the universe doesn't hear no. So your ability to actually speak into existence what you want is your ability to live a life that you want. The Mayans believed that the universe was created by the singing of the gods. And I think that our beautiful lives are created by our own vibrational frequencies. The voice frequency that you have and your own unique intelligence. We often take our voices for granted. So we open our mouths and things come out. But when used wisely and appropriately, the voice can be one of the most powerful instruments in the human body. It's often been called the mirror to our soul. We transmit feelings, emotions, ideas, wishes, in fact, everything through this singular, amazing instrument. So your voice is your frequency. And your frequency, honestly, in 5D, if we're going into 5D world, is the medicine of the future. It's an expression of your spirit. It's an expression of your soul. And speech patterns become our thinking patterns, which are manifested in our body. So we can make a conscious choice to use high frequency speech patterns that lift ourselves and others. And your voice should match the frequency that defines the reality we want to experience. So the way you feel about your voice, the things that you say, the words that you choose, the resonance that you have in your body, the comfort and confidence that you have with what you're saying should reflect the reality that you want to live in and desire.
Who out there is going to the gym, crushing it, but not seeing the results that match your effort? I'm raising my hand because I recently joined the gym at the top of the year, and I have been in the gym, crushing it, if I do say so myself, but I'm not seeing the results that match the effort I'm putting in. And so I started to take Aminos from Kion, Kion. We actually interviewed the founder on the podcast a while back. Fascinating interview all about aminos. And y'all, I have been seeing some muscle tone. If you didn't know, I had a baby 6 months ago. But I am seeing some beautiful muscle tone in my body. And muscle is so, so important, especially as you get older. It is incredible for longevity, for strength, for your overall health. So if you're someone that's afraid to build muscle, like by lifting at the gym, it's going to take so much lifting. It's going to take so much food. Like, please believe me, you will not bulk up. This is so important. So if you are hitting it hard in the gym, you should be taking aminos. Kion does it right. It is delicious. So they have incredible flavors that I know you'll love. And this formula is backed by 20 years of clinical research. It's non-GMO, sugar-free, 100% vegan. I am obsessed, huge fan, take it every single day. So to save 20%, go to getkion.com/almost30. That's getkion.com/almost30 to get our fundamental supplement for fitness. Take it every single day. You're going to love it. 20% off at getkion.com/almost30.
So let me end with a little story about The Little Mermaid, okay? So when I was just noodling on sort of our experience in childhood and growing up and kind of looking at the ways of, or how we understand our voice and why we women are taught to feel how we feel about our voices. And I was thinking a lot about Disney movies and how when you're children, you watch them ad nauseum, you watch them repeatedly, multiple times, you know every word, you cannot stop talking about them, you just are obsessed. And I was thinking about The Little Mermaid. Let's unpack it. The Little Mermaid. The story of The Little Mermaid was that she had to give up her voice. Remember, she gave up her voice to Ursula, the archetype of the devouring mother, to become who she wanted to be, which was human. So this woman, beautiful mermaid under the sea, living her life, brushing her hair with forks, was told by Ursula that she had to give up her voice and put her voice in a shell in order to find love as a human. So her existing identity as a woman who wants things and can speak to that want is actually a moral obstacle to be overcome. So it was actually the moral obstacle of the Little Mermaid. Something she had to overcome was the fact that she could actually speak up and speak her desires. Are you guys okay? Her only shot at redemption in the movie came via her silence and death. So she had to stay silent as a human to get the guy, or she had to die. So basically, stay silent. Also, you guys, she had to stay silent to get the man. I mean, are you crashing your cars? If you're watching on YouTube, I'm just blinking. That was the whole thing. She had to give up her voice to become human, to have a life that she wanted, and to get the man. I mean, I'm unwell. So The Little Mermaid, as a small example, as a basis for how we understand and see the voice as a problem, something that needs to be overcome, something that men don't want us to have, something that society doesn't want us to have, something that we need to give up. And the archetype of Ursula as the devouring mother is who we give our voices to. And this is, if we go into mother wound, if we go into any type of archetype work and we really look at that from a different level, we can see that our mothers are often where we lose our voices. So Ursula, as the representation of the devouring mother, not her actual mother, but as a representation of that, is who she had to give her voice to. Someone who's jealous, someone who wants to take her power away, someone that wants to take from her, she had to give her voice to. So when we think back to The Little Mermaid, we can think back in compassion to the little versions of us that were watching that and getting the wrong ideas about the voice, getting the wrong ideas about who we should be, getting the wrong ideas about how terrible it is to use and be in our voice, and really start the work on understanding and being with the power of our voice and communication, the power of really being able to be who we are in the world, to take up space, to say how we feel, to ask for what we want, to give love as much as possible, to experience the feeling of love and then express it, to be clear in our desires and our wants from the world, the voice is the expression of our spirit. So a strong spirit is really reflected in a strong voice. When a person is weak, when a person is not being themselves, when a person is upset, you can hear it in their voice. So my invitation for you all in closing to this episode on the voice and authentic communication, which I'm going to be talking a lot more about, is to think about your voice, to notice your voice, to go about your day in your conversations, in your relationships, in your work, and think about how your voice sounds. Think about how your voice changes. Notice your voice when you're with your partner. Notice your voice when you're with your family. Notice your voice when you're ordering at a restaurant. Watch your tone and voice over time and see how true it feels to you. Listen to the words that you're saying. Does it feel like the most loving thing? Does it feel like the most true thing? Notice yourself when you're lying. Notice yourself when you're being dishonest. Notice yourself when you have something you want to say, but you're not saying it. Notice yourself when you're holding back from saying something. Notice yourself when you're censoring. There's so much information and wisdom and beauty and helpful guiding principles about our life when we really tune in and listen to our voice. This beautiful manifestation of consciousness, this identity and sound that is uniquely you. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me on the voice. Again, I'm going to be doing more on it just because I'm so obsessed with communication. It's really been just the linchpin for my life, and having really beautiful relationships and stepping into a voice that feels authentic and feels me has been so nice. So I'm here to support you in that journey. And my original intention for this was just to awaken that part of you to recognize your voice and your authenticity and your truth. And then we can dive deeper, of course. So you can find me on Instagram to learn more, to connect further. It's Krista. It's ITSKRISTA. It's Krista.com. I do retreats. I do one-on-one coaching, all of that. And then Almost 30 podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review. It means so much when you do that. Truly, really means the world. Almost30.com, Almost 30 podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I love you very much. Bye-bye.